General Electric is hot. This is the top 10 stocks. So we're taking a look at General Electric. This is the number 2 most popular stock at the moment. And let's talk about their balance sheets. Let's look at the charts, see what's going on. This is Brian Lewis with MMT Investing, and things just changed. So, Feb 20. Here we go. So, yep, okay. So we get the dead cat and the S&P crash, and then you get the S&P 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double top, a little turnover on the 5. So we get an ABC and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a reversal here on the S&P. And so GE has taken a dive. So GE is at low valuations. People want to know if now is a great time to get in. And I don't give investment advice, so I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I am going to draw some lines here and we can get a good idea what's going on. So we can see GE here during the beginning of this bounce started to go up, and now they've come down. It looks very similar to some energy and some airline stocks that we've taken a look at. GE has definitely smashed that like button right now to help me out with the YouTube algorithm. And we've got a little gap down today, not as crazy as some of the other stocks. And what we've been seeing in pretty much all the sectors, regardless of if it's been an up or a downtrend, is we're getting this type of consolidation zone. And this is over the course of this 5 wave. And this looks like a down consolidation, down bear pennant to me. Just on the technical front, then if we take a look at the balance sheet, GE's balance sheet is pretty good. It was about 36 gazillion cash to about 22 gazillion current debt. So they're ahead on their balance sheet a lot better than a lot of other companies are looking. Assets to liabilities was square, it's all even. So their balance sheet's pretty good. And GE has canceled a lot of airplane orders from Boing. They've had factories shut down because of the health situation. And so they're being held down right now. And the other thing holding them down is this credit contraction cycle, which we're in at the moment. And we get a sort of a down and a bounce kind of movement in this credit contraction cycle. This is a worldwide monetary credit contraction cycle. So we're looking for these kind of bouncing moves here, but we're going to be in a credit contraction phase here still for another month or month and a half. And that's a really difficult time for the general economy to bounce up. And I think GE is going to need a bounce from the general economy. And then they could be a pretty solid stock when we do get an expansion phase. But that looks like it's going to be in June-ish. From my current cyclical data on the sort of the inflation and the growth data that we're getting in, looks like June is going to be when we do a general reversal into a positive expansion cycle. And at that point, I think GE is going to be really good. Playing with the GE up and down here during the contraction cycle is going to be really tricky, and I'm not going to be touching them because I have other stocks that are a lot easier to track in this type of a cycle. And always the oil tankers, I should probably mention the oil tankers in these top 10 videos because those are not top 10 kind of stocks, but they're having a really, really unique stock charts that are interesting. Oh, markets are going to open soon. Yeah, so the oil tankers like Nordic American tankers and DHT, the double hull tankers, Euronav, those are all the crude oil tankers that are being used to store all this excess crude oil. TK tankers, TNK, that's a big one too. So I just wanted to mention the tankers. You can take a look at my tanker videos if you're interested in those instead of the top 10 stocks. And we're looking at entry points in all of these kind of long positions relative to this credit contraction cycle and where good entry points are going to be. And right now it looks like the general market is going to make a down move, and it looks like a larger Elliott wave where we get an A, B, C kind of wave on the larger scale. And this down wave is not a good look for GE this week. So I'm not going to be touching GE right now, but this is a very interesting stock when we get a reversal of conditions. I don't like them very much for a big bounce up in the middle of the credit contraction, because this is kind of an energy sector stock that does not generally do well in a credit contraction. But as soon as we get an expansion phase, this is a stock that's going to look pretty good to me. And that is the outlook on General Election, General Election, General Electric, GE, um, wind turbines, airplane engines, all kinds of cool stuff. This is a good company, and it is a very tricky one this week. So happy trading, and we'll keep covering these popular stocks and mentioning the oil tankers and gold. I didn't mention gold, but gold is an interesting up in the credit contraction cycle. Gold is a really interesting up in the credit contraction cycle. If you check out my gold videos as well, that's a good look. And all of this stuff is really tricky in this type of cycle. This is a really tricky cycle to trade. It gets way easier when we get out into this kind of smoother expansion cycle. That looks way more like the type of market activity that people are used to. So yeah, all right. Good enough. Happy trading.